Across the African continent, all wildlife must choose: adapt or surrender to fate. This kingdom is ruled by the ultimate predators. To make it through, the prey must overcome the strongest beasts. Spanning a vast expanse of nearly 20,000 square kilometers in northeastern South Africa, Kruger National Park remains a vibrant living monument of the ancient world, larger than several sovereign nations. It is home to a gathering of more than 1,500 lions. But venturing deep into Timbavati, this is the sacred dwelling of the star lions, according to the oral traditions of the native Shangaan people, the celestial descendants of the sky. The Ross Pride once stood as the most illustrious lineage of this territory. Until the passing of the original dominant males after the year 2010. Now, with the arrival of new life and two formidable protectors, the Ross Pride is reclaiming its supreme presence over this kingdom. Science observes that the ivory coat of these lions is the result of leucism. It is not a biological discrepancy like albinism, which entirely omits pigment and limits visual clarity. But the radiant beauty of these star lions has unintentionally diminished the natural grace of blending into the amber horizon. It makes them highly visible to others who view such rarity as a challenge. Their counterparts are the giraffe pride. They also represent a white star lineage, led by two wise and discerning white queens. One among them ventured to follow a young member of the Ross Pride and faced a significant consequence. Fortunately, the energized barrier marked the final limit for the white lioness. serving as a protective boundary between her and the members of the Ross pride. A meaningful lesson on the consequence of prominence and the fragile line between influence and the conclusion of an era across the ever-shifting landscape of Kruger. East Africa's Garden of Eden. Ngorongoro crater. It is the world's largest intact, inactive volcanic caldera. The density of powerful seekers here is the highest in Africa, especially the lions. Specialized paw pads enable these giants to glide across dry grass without making a single sound. Hidden deep within the tall grass, they begin setting a perimeter. Lions understand that to overcome an opponent 5 times their weight, they must shatter the buffalo herd's unity to gain the upper hand. And turn the terrain into a tool. While one lioness targets the hind legs, others leverage explosive muscle power to bring the target down. For a Cape buffalo, the deciding factor is often the suffocation grasp. It takes several minutes for the powerful opponent to yield. One life fades to sustain a dynasty, continuing nature's unrelenting cycle. Ngorongoro lions possess a unique, regal presence with their thick, dark manes. This is the result of elevated testosterone levels and a biological response to the cool temperatures inside the basin, which helps them stay warm. However, secluded by walls reaching 600 meters, the current lion population has emerged from a very narrow genetic circle. Because of this, the high-stakes showdowns to guard their territory unfold with a frequency and intensity that is off the charts, surpassing any other place on the planet. At the heart of Ngorongoro, spotted hyenas lead the way with 400 to 500 individuals. Lions number a modest 65 to 75. Yet this does not diminish their profound influence. Research here indicates that hyenas secure 80% of their meals through elite teamwork to bring down both zebra and buffalo. but lions frequently step in to take the lion's share, using their physical power to reclaim the prize from the hyenas. In the hyena world, leadership belongs to the females. The clans are guided by females that are larger and more assertive than the males. A group of hyenas can surround and reclaim 100% of the spoils from lionesses. Everything changes the moment the king arrives. It is a deep-seated instinct, for they know that a single heavy blow is enough to bring a swift conclusion to a hyena instantly. As we move through 2026, the Cope Lion Conservation Project is working to establish safe corridors, hoping to bridge lions from the Serengeti Plains into the crater. The goal is to introduce new genetic variety to protect the lion population from biological decline. Moving towards southern Africa, another intense chapter of survival is unfolding. South Luangwa, the crown jewel of African safaris. Yet for the creatures dwelling within this valley, this is a high-stakes arena of existence. This valley serves as a sanctuary for unique species. Thornycroft's giraffes display intricate, leaf-like patterns. Crawshay's zebras wear coats of fine, dense stripes. And the Cooksen's wildebeest, a solitary wanderer, exclusive to these lands. Life revolves around the Luangwa River, one of the continent's last truly wild river systems. On the open plains of South Luangwa, stealth is a luxury. Cheetahs know this well. The cheetah is the savanna's ultimate sprinter, a living being perfectly engineered for high-speed bursts. A small head, flat chest, and long, slender legs minimize air resistance. Meanwhile, wide nostrils open fully to fuel massive lungs with oxygen. A cheetah's claws act like specialized track spikes. Blunt and semi-retractable, they provide maximum traction during high-velocity pursuits. But in this arena, those they follow are definitely not lagging behind. When a cheetah locks onto a target, the world becomes a blur in the blink of an eye. A flexible spine propels its body forward with strides reaching 8 meters long. A long tail provides absolute stability. The downpour makes any rescue effort ineffective. However, the gift of speed always comes with a steep price. After every successful pursuit, the victor becomes the most vulnerable. It must lie there panting, watching its prize while its heart works to cool down the entire system. In that state of exhaustion, the cheetah is entirely exposed to more imposing giants. Leopards excel at securing their finds much better than cheetahs. They are capable of hauling a catch twice their own weight up into trees as high as 15 meters. They turn these elevated spots into their personal strongholds. South Luangwa is a leopard sanctuary. The leopard population is so dense that they no longer view people as a concern. This seeker always begins its mission from the shadows and absolute silence. Lacking the cheetah's lightning speed or the lion's overwhelming group power, it is a solitary wanderer living by intelligence and patience. Every step is calculated to remain silent, hearing 5 times more sensitive than a human's. Scanning every breath of the target. The leopard intercepts the target in mid-flight. A perfect harmony of strength and precision from a master who clearly calls the shots. Moving away from these loud encounters, we head west, where green grass yields to waves of burnt orange sand. The Namib Desert dates back 55 to 80 million years. This land uses time and searing heat to filter existence. Even when giants must bow to the lack of water, the small ones begin their lesson in endurance. Within the desert lies Dedvley, a pristine white clay pan where camel thorn trees that finished their journey 600 to 900 years ago remain upright. In an ecosystem with nearly zero moisture, the idea of breaking down is a foreign concept. Sun-scorched into dark silhouettes, these trees have truly stood the test of time against the vibrant orange dunes and the deep blue sky. When temperatures reach 40 degrees Celsius, life still finds a way to weave through the narrowest cracks. This is the domain of the rock scorpion. Over the ages, this large arachnid has evolved a sophisticated toolkit. Its extremely flat body lets it slip deep into rock fissures to beat the heat and avoid unwanted attention. Though its venom is among the least potent of its kind, it compensates with sheer physical power. Its pincers act like hydraulic pistons, possessing enough pressure to crush even the toughest shells. Its strategy for securing a meal relies on sensing vibrations. For a millipede passing by chance, a final chapter emerging from the shadows of the stone is an inevitability. Deep within the desert's furnace, the sand can scorch any inhabitant at 70 degrees Celsius. This is the domain of the Sidewinder, a master who has turned physics into a survival asset. Its name tells the story of its remarkable evolution. By tossing its midsection forward, it keeps contact with the searing surface to a minimum, while creating incredible momentum across the shifting sand. Yet its cleverness shines brightest in the art of concealment. Its eyes are like periscopes set atop its head. Tucked deep under the surface, it leaves no suspicious marks behind. Fully hidden, the Sidewinder reveals a darker tail tip and wiggles it, perfectly imitating a small worm. To a hungry lizard, this looks like a simple catch. But as soon as the target lets its guard down, the trap is sprung. One more journey concludes through this seamless harmony of disguise and trickery, proving that this seeker truly knows the ropes. And not far from the unforgiving sands, a life-giving flow emerges. We are entering Okavango. This is one of the world's premier inland delta systems, where the Okavango River goes against the grain by wandering inland instead of meeting the ocean. This massive volume of water eventually evaporates or sinks deep into the earth, creating a lush oasis covering 15,000 square kilometers in the heart of the parched Kalahari. But what truly makes Okavango a marvel is its flooding paradox. When the rest of Botswana is feeling the heat of the driest months, the pulse of upstream waters finally reaches the delta. While the continent withers, Okavango becomes a massive, life-sustaining basin, drawing in countless residents from every direction to find renewal. Within this liquid labyrinth, a hidden world of patient seekers is lying in wait. The Nile crocodile holds dominion here through a sense of awe. They possess breathtaking bursts of speed. These massive figures can close the distance to their target without leaving a single ripple behind. Armored scales soak up the sun's warmth to fuel their internal systems. A network of capillaries circulates warmth, priming muscle groups and sharpening their vision. Short, muscular limbs tuck close to the body to minimize drag in the water. Eyes, ears, and nostrils aligned along the top of the head reflect a sophisticated biological design. This setup allows a creature spanning 6 meters and weighing up to 1,000 kilograms to completely vanish in water only 30 centimeters deep. As thirsty visitors draw near, the crocodiles descend below the surface. To remain perfectly hidden, they adjust their 4-chambered heart, directing oxygen-rich blood only to the most vital systems. The heart rate slows to a mere 2 beats per minute, allowing them to remain in a submerged wait for up to 2 hours. A heavy stillness settles over the water, masking a master of the craft just centimeters from its goal. The target remains completely unaware that its journey is nearing an end. Few ever manage to slip away from such a powerful conclusion, even those who are skilled seekers themselves. Yet even the Nile crocodile must keep an eye out for one formidable rival. Water is typically a feline's adversary. But in the Okavango Delta, that rule is tossed aside. Lions have mastered these channels. The Duba Plains pride has even transformed into amphibious seekers, ready to swim across the deepest waterways. But beneath that still surface, an ancient ambush specialist from millions of years ago remains concealed. A clash between these two top-tier figures is inevitable. Across the waterhole lies the pride's home. Mothers are leading their young back to meet the extended family. The cubs are full of spirit, experiencing this journey for the first time. They are completely off their guard. The mothers clearly did not anticipate this turn of events. They have plenty of heart, but are still learning the ropes of parenting. A somber outcome. When a prize sits on the thin line between wet and dry, respect yields to raw power. Conflicts typically flare up when sustenance is scarce, leading to disputes over a find. During these times, the struggles often end in a tug-of-war at the water's edge, or grand displays of dominance. In these high-stakes moments, whoever has the size advantage usually holds all the aces. This massive crocodile can crush a lion's femur with a single snap of its jaws. The male lion is forced to intervene. In this arena, a single heartbeat of hesitation can turn a master seeker into a meal on the riverbed. Unlike most spiders bound to the soil, the fishing spider has a leg up on the competition with its rare ability to walk across liquid surfaces. They utilize surface tension, where the cohesive pull of water molecules acts like a powerful thin membrane. With a body weight of less than 1 gram, their long legs are coated in a specialized water-repellent wax. Microscopic hairs at the tips of their feet allow them to stand steady on the water's surface. Advanced biological sensors have recorded their sophisticated leg pressure regulation used to maintain absolute balance. When needing to evade larger seekers below, this spider can dash across the surface with incredible speed. They even employ a deep diving technique by trapping an air bubble within fine hairs, allowing them to breathe underwater for 30 minutes to wait in ambush or find safety. While others are stirring the water, a silent ghost of the sky sweeps through the atmosphere. With vision 5 times sharper than a human with perfect sight, it detects the slightest ripple from nearly 100 meters away. The African fish eagle doesn't need overwhelming force. It truly knows its stuff when it comes to precision from above. Every movement below serves as a stepping stone for a flawless endeavor about to begin. The water's surface can be a precarious spot for both targets and land-dwelling giants. But this sky belongs to a different master. The African fish eagle is an incredibly efficient provider. It spends a mere 10 minutes each day on the actual pursuit. Every eagle possesses excellent vision, but this aquatic ruler has an extraordinary optical system. Dual focal points allow it to see forward and to both sides simultaneously without turning its head. Its sight is 5 times sharper than a human with perfect vision. From a distance of nearly 100 meters, it can detect the slightest ripple of a swimming fish. For the African fish eagle, the world below holds no secrets. It spots what the lion or crocodile might have overlooked during their struggles on the muddy banks. Once the target is in its sights, the aerial master moves into action. A 2-meter wingspan spreads wide to maintain balance, while tail feathers adjust fluidly to stabilize its high-speed flight path. The true deciding factor lies in its massive talons with rough pads underneath. Providing enough pressure to overwhelm the catch and maintain a firm grip on slippery scales. A successful endeavor, yet the African fish eagle is more than just a success story for survival in these wetlands. If Okavango is where a river chooses to vanish into hot sands to create a magical migratory oasis, then across the ocean, another ecosystem is fulfilling a similar mission. An ecosystem as vital as a steady heartbeat in the center of Brazil. A land born to coexist with fire. but it is the source of 70% of the water for South America's major basins. Welcome to the Cerrado. The African elephant, a symbol of absolute power. This massive moving powerhouse stands up to 3.96 meters tall and weighs well over 5,443 kilograms. Tough, armor-like skin, along with mighty tusks, grants these giants their majestic status. Guided by a decisive matriarch, the entire clan maintains a deep bond of survival. Memories of lush lands lead the herd across the unforgiving savanna. By a distant watering hole, a cheetah, a master of speed, faces a daunting challenge to her survival. 2 days without a meal makes the hope of sustaining her cubs feel more fragile than ever. Seizing a lapse in their alertness, the cheetah closes the distance with silent footsteps. Panic erupts as one individual startles, triggering a high-stakes chase across the field. The loss of one Thompson's gazelle secures the future for the cubs. The savanna operates by a stern law, where the fallen nourish those who remain. The struggle for life unfolds relentlessly under the scorching sun of the dark continent. Across the vast ocean, the journey begins in the Amazon rainforest, the deep green heart of South America. This quiet biological arena hides intense struggles for existence beneath the ancient canopy. The Amazon River stretches 6,437 kilometers, serving as the lifeblood that sustains the entire continent. The supreme ruler here is the jaguar, the largest big cat in the Americas, blessed with perfect night vision. Locating targets in the pitch black is second nature for this solitary hunter. Its signature spotted coat turns it into a ghost that blends seamlessly into the surroundings. An explosive and silent hunting style makes the jaguar an invisible presence in the jungle. In the blink of an eye, an unlucky capybara finds itself caught by the night hunter. Every movement beneath the thick foliage carries a formidable grace. Every hunt is a risky gamble. The line between hunter and prey is quite thin. A massive fish fails to anticipate the jaguar's power and quickly becomes dinner. However, the true marvel of power in the Amazon is the ambush specialist, the black caiman. Living up to 70 years, this crocodilian is a testament to the incredible resilience of reptiles. A unique ability to store fat allows them to go without food for months in patient anticipation. Its jet black skin helps this giant vanish into the dark waters while waiting for a meal. The rainy season arrives from December to May, with river levels rising 3.05 to 4.88 meters. Millions of hectares of forest transform into a vast wetland world. This ecological shift drives a booming reproductive cycle for countless fish species in the region. About 60% of fish species in the Amazon utilize these flooded forests to continue their lineage. In contrast, leafcutter ants must race against the tide to elevate their fungus chambers. A rapidly changing environment forces every creature to adapt quickly to avoid being overwhelmed. An ingenious natural drainage system is established by the leafcutter ants to keep the nest dry. The nutrient-rich humus beneath the Amazon soil acts as a massive energy reservoir. This area holds more than 100 billion tons of carbon. A network of over 2,000 symbiotic fungi species helps roots absorb minerals from the soil most efficiently. The rainy season brings a tough challenge for the giant otter as food sources become scarce. The presence of black caimans and anacondas adds to the constant threats facing this species. Giant otters adapt by mobilizing collective strength in groups of up to 20 members. Cornering fish in shallow waters helps increase their survival rate to 70%. Smooth coordination between individuals is key to overcoming harsh environmental conditions. Beneath the leaf litter on the forest floor lies the domain of over 430 colorful amphibian species. The poison dart frog stands out as a sophisticated hunter of ants, termites, and spiders. Brilliant red and orange hues on their skin signal a warning of a potent chemical weapon. The weapon of the poison dart frog is a toxin capable of paralyzing the nervous system of any challenger. Deep underground, diligent leaf-cutter ant workers transport fresh leaves back to the nest. They cultivate a specific fungus as a primary food source to sustain the entire colony. Each leafcutter ant empire gathers millions of members with a perfect division of labor. At heights of 30.48 to 48.77 meters, a vibrant world shines under the sun. Nearly 50% of Amazonian creatures spend their entire lives in the high canopy without ever touching the ground. A prime example is the sloth, a creature famous for the most laid-back lifestyle on the planet. Toesing and turning is not their style, as their movement speed reaches a mere 0.24 kilometers per hour. This extreme slowness stems from a specialized diet of leaves, flowers, and forest fruits. The sloth's digestive system needs up to 30 days to fully break down the cellulose in the leaves. As dawn or dusk settles in, strange sounds begin to echo through the dense canopy. That is the powerful troop call of the howler monkey. This resonance spreads over 5 kilometers, keeping communication between members crystal clear. A unique vocal structure allows the howler monkey to possess the loudest roar among primates. Another master of climbing is the spider monkey, a survival expert at the treetops. Spending almost their entire lives aloft, they rarely venture down to the ground. Every activity from foraging to raising offspring takes place amidst the green layers. Long arms and a flexible tail act as a fifth limb, helping the spider monkey move with skill. The Amazon also boasts the toucan, a vibrant and colorful icon of the jungle. A brilliant, massive beak making up a third of its body length makes this bird unmistakable. This biological marvel is made of keratin with internal air pockets to optimize weight. Despite its bulky appearance, the beak is light as a feather, allowing the toucan to fly with great grace. This feature also serves as a natural heat radiator, helping the bird maintain a steady body temperature. The toucan plays a vital role in seed dispersal to rebuild the ecosystem. Below the main canopy, at 19.81 to 30.48 meters, is a world filled with dappled sunlight. This transition zone acts as a natural nursery where life begins to flourish. Dense vegetation here accounts for 60% of all plant species in the entire Amazon. The massive leaf system stores 40% of the carbon, becoming a strong shield against climate change. But South America has even more to offer. If you've heard of the Amazon but never known about the Cerrado, then you may have just uncovered one of nature's hidden gems. Across the dry grasslands, the tall, slender shadow of the maned wolf glides quietly past low shrubs, its large ears standing alert, tuned in to every sound. Deep within the tropical forest, the jaguar moves with care beside a shallow stream, once teeming with prey. Out along the edges, the cougar roams the scorched plains, following the fading traces of life. High in the branches, the toko toucan nestles beneath withered canopies, its watchful eyes scanning a fiery horizon. On the ground below, the boa constrictor lies coiled, its movements slowed by the loss of warmth. In the last remaining wetlands, the yacare caiman dives and resurfaces, searching for the faint ripple of prey beneath the murky water. This is no longer just a struggle to survive. It is a fractured epic, where every creature must endure the dry sea of fire to carry on. The Cerrado spans nearly 2 million square kilometers, covering over 21% of Brazil's territory. It winds through many states such as Goiás, Mato Grosso, Tocantins, Minas Gerais, and Maranhão, and even lightly extends into Bolivia and Paraguay. Though this landlocked region touches no ocean, it serves as a vast natural reservoir, giving rise to and sustaining 8 of Brazil's 12 largest rivers, including the Amazon and the São Francisco. The Cerrado's quiet presence subtly orchestrates underground water flows and plays a vital role in shaping the surrounding ecosystems. Geologically, the Cerrado rests on an ancient plateau called the Planalto Central, formed during the Precambrian era, over 600 million years ago. Its rugged terrain is shaped by weathered granite and metamorphic rock, creating a landscape of rolling hills and dry plains. The soil here is deep reddish in color, rich in aluminum but low in nutrients, with a high level of acidity. The landscape of the Cerrado is a patchwork of diverse ecological shades. In some areas, open grasslands stretch wide, dotted with only a few low shrubs. Elsewhere, savanna blends with sparse woodland, where trees have rounded canopies, thick bark, and deep roots. Evolved traits designed to withstand drought and recurring wildfires. Since prehistoric times, this region has been home to indigenous communities such as the Kraho, Zavante, Bororo, and Tapirape, whose social structures, rituals, and beliefs are deeply rooted in nature. The Bororo hold their ceremonies at the center of their villages, while the Tapirape preserve spiritual practices and traditional medicine based on medicinal plants. In addition, the Gerai-Zero people of Minas Gerais maintain nature-based rituals and celebrate a yearly festival on December 8th in honor of Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, a vivid example of the blending of Catholicism and indigenous spirituality. Art forms such as dance, music, and handcrafted works among indigenous and Quilombo communities serve as powerful vessels for passing down cultural heritage and folk wisdom. The Cerrado has a tropical semi-humid climate marked by two distinct seasons. The rainy season lasts from October to April, bringing an average annual rainfall of about 1,200 to 2,000 millimeters. In contrast, the dry season stretches from May to September, bringing barely a drop of rain, with daytime temperatures soaring above 30 degrees Celsius and nights turning suddenly chilly. This is home to over 10,000 plant species, nearly 50% of which are found nowhere else on Earth. As many as 935 bird species have been recorded here. In addition, the Cerrado shelters around 200 mammal species, more than 270 types of reptiles and amphibians, along with tens of thousands of insect species. Every element, no matter how small, holds an irreplaceable link in this vast web of ecological balance. As the dry heat begins to fade, the Cerrado shifts into its rainy season from October to March, bringing with it an abundant water supply, between 1,000 to 1,600 millimeters per year. The first rains fall on the cracked earth like a wake-up call to the entire ecosystem, signaling the start of a new cycle of life. The rise in humidity and temperature triggers the germination, flowering, and fruiting of many plant species, providing a rich food source for insects and other wildlife. During the rainy season, Serra da Canastra National Park, covering 197,810 hectares, transforms into a vibrant biological zone with average annual rainfall around 1,250 millimeters. This surge in moisture fuels the lush growth of gallery forests, evergreen riverbank woodlands that flourish along the upper reaches of the São Francisco River. The park includes areas of striking scenic beauty, such as Cascadanta, the first waterfall of the São Francisco River, which stands 186 meters tall. The gallery forests here also serve as vital biological corridors, providing habitat for many endemic and rare species. If the ocelot is nicknamed the dwarf leopard for its petite build and leopard-like appearance, then the margay, a smaller wild cat, is often called the tree ocelot. During most of the rainy season, it hides within a leafy maze, where vines, dry branches, and moss weave together into a three-dimensional world. Measuring 70 to 80 centimeters in length and weighing just 3 to 4 kilograms, the margay is the acrobat of the forest world. Its tail, making up as much as 70% of its body length, provides perfect balance as it moves along slippery, rain-soaked branches. Remarkably, the margay is one of the very few mammals capable of rotating its hind ankle joints 180 degrees, allowing it to climb down trees head first, more like a squirrel than a cat. It can leap as far as 3.7 meters or as high as 2.4 meters between branches, and can even hang upside down from a limb using just one hind leg. Its large, round eyes, affectionately called button eyes by locals, give it exceptional accuracy when hunting in the dark. The margay lives a solitary life, is mostly active at night, and marks its territory with scent. With a slow reproductive rate, producing only one offspring every 2 years, the margay is highly vulnerable to sudden environmental changes. Serra da Canastra, where intact gallery forests still remain, is becoming a final stronghold for the protection of this species. The rainy season in the rainforest brings an abundance of food. The margay hunts birds, marsupials, squirrels, small monkeys, and even sloths, all of which dwell in the treetops. An astonishing hunting tactic recorded in Brazil shows the margay mimicking the cries of baby monkeys, luring concerned adults close enough to be ambushed from above. Though it lives in the trees, the margay may come down to the ground to hunt rabbits or rodents, but this is a risky choice as it makes the cat more vulnerable to larger predators. Among the watchful eyes tracking its movements is the cougar. Like a mystery written in many languages, the cougar holds more names than any other animal in the wild. Puma, mountain lion, catamount, panther. Over 40 nicknames, all referring to the same species. It is the terrestrial mammal with the widest range across the Americas, stretching from the icy Yukon in Canada to the arid Andes of southern Peru. And right at the heart of this continent, where the Cerrado sprawls and gallery forests cling to the San Francisco River, the cougar finds a fleeting paradise during the rainy season. During the rainy season, the riverbank forests become rich and chaotic. Migratory birds return, hoofed animals forage, and rodents reproduce rapidly with the rising humidity. For the cougar, this is opportunity. It crouches beneath the forest canopy, golden eyes narrowed, watching as prey slowly moves toward an open clearing. No sound, no heavy breathing, only a deadly patience. Its long, powerful hind legs, the strongest among all wild cats, coil like compressed springs. In a split second, the cougar launches nearly 5.5 meters into the air, soaring over more than 6 meters like a living arrow. Its nearly 1 meter long tail curving gently to steer its body through brush and jagged rocks. The impact lasts only seconds. Canines sink into the neck, claws lock in tight. The prey is pinned to the ground before it has a chance to react. The cougar doesn't rush to feed. Instead, it drags the carcass to the forest's edge, covering it carefully with dry leaves, moss, and branches, stashing it like a reserve stockpile for the unpredictable rain-soaked days ahead. A single large prey can sustain it for 4 to 6 days, reducing the risk of having to hunt frequently. Unlike tigers or lions with their thunderous roars, the cougar communicates through a surprising range of sounds: hisses, growls, howls, and at times an echoing scream that cuts through the night. An adult cougar in this region typically holds a territory spanning 80 to 150 square kilometers, moving in sync with prey patterns and seasonal changes. During the rainy season, their movement shifts south and southeast of the park, where populations of capybaras and armadillos rise significantly. As solitary animals, cougars typically interact only during the mating season. The female, known as a queen, carries her young for about 90 days and gives birth to between 1 and 6 cubs. Dark spots along the cubs' backs help them blend into the forest floor scattered with damp fallen leaves. They stay with their mother for up to 2 years, learning every step of the stalk, how to select prey, read the wind, and avoid other predators like the jaguar and even humans, the most unpredictable of all. In the food chain, the cougar acts as a guardian of natural balance. By keeping herbivore populations in check, it helps the forest regenerate and prevents overgrazing, a pattern confirmed by ecologists at the organization Rede Cerrado through satellite analysis of biomass cover during the 2025 rainy season. In areas where cougars are frequently present, the understory and mid-level vegetation are noticeably healthier compared to regions where they are absent. And as the rain continues to fall over the Cerrado, the faint tracks of a cougar pressed into the wet earth remain, quiet proof that life in the wild never truly stops. High above, the black-tufted marmoset darts in and out of the foliage, while down below, the crested caracara glides silently through the thin mist of the gallery forest. Unlike falcons that dive and twist through the air, it lands on the damp earth, stepping slowly on orange-yellow legs, as if reading the ground that has just come back to life after the season's first rain. Belonging to the Falconidae family, the caracara doesn't follow the high-speed hunting style of its relatives. Weighing 1.3 kilograms, it is the second heaviest member of the family, surpassed only by the gerfalcon. Rather than ambushing prey, it prowls the ground in search of carrion, insects, lizards, or even fallen fruit. A true opportunistic forager, it acts both as nature's cleanup crew and a quiet agent of renewal after the dry season. The rainy season brings a biological feast. Rodents, animal remains, organic debris, all washed toward the forest edge. The crested caracara scratches through the leaf litter with its beak or feet, walking hundreds of meters each day, seizing every chance to survive. Its bare, orange-red face shifts color with emotion, glowing bright when excited, paling when alert, allowing it to communicate through expression, along with a clucking sound like stones rattling in a bamboo tube, and loud calls sent skyward as it tilts its head back and cries out across the rain-soaked plains. Unlike the typically solitary falcons, the crested caracara is socially flexible, living alone, in pairs, or in small groups. During the breeding season at the end of the rains, they build new nests as high as 10 meters, incubate their eggs for 30 days, and raise their young for about 6 to 8 weeks. Remarkably, the chicks don't leave the nest right away. They stay for several more months, learning how to forage, move through the landscape, and sense the life hidden within what seems lifeless. The origin of the caracara traces back to the Caracarini group, which branched off from true falcons near the end of the Pleistocene epoch. Not as powerful as eagles nor as fierce as falcons, it is the ability to survive on what's left behind that has made the caracara a true symbol of resilience. Cerrado is no stranger to scavengers. Alongside the crested caracara, this land is also home to a species as strikingly colorful as the toko toucan, the king vulture. Unlike most vultures with drab gray feathers and a somber appearance, the king vulture is a burst of color. Its body looks like a natural paint palette, as if nature had poured out the last of its rebellious spirit onto this single bird. At the center of its curved orange and black beak sits a fleshy knob called a carbuncle, like a soft crown resting on the face of a silent king. Its pale white eyes, rimmed in deep red, gleam with an almost otherworldly gaze. Newborn chicks are covered in jet black down and take nearly 6 years to grow into the dazzling appearance of adulthood. In Serra da Canastra, where gallery forests stretch along the São Francisco River, The rainy season brings more carcasses, more natural accidents, and with them, the peak working season for the king vulture. Unlike raptors such as hawks or eagles, the king vulture doesn't take life to survive. It waits, seeking out opportunity in the quiet ending of another creature's journey. With its large, powerful beak, it is often among the first to open thick-skinned remains, like capybaras, armadillos, or wild pigs, paving the way for smaller vultures that arrive later. This bird lacks a rich vocal range due to the absence of a syrinx, the vocal organ found in most birds. Its sounds are limited to low hisses, faint wheezes, or soft snorts. Instead of calling to one another, they rely on observation. With exceptionally sharp eyesight, the king vulture can spot a carcass from hundreds of meters above. During the humid conditions of the rainy season, when the scent of decay spreads more slowly, vision becomes its primary tool for survival. Though it lives quietly, the king vulture is not entirely solitary. Each dry season, its main breeding period, it lays a single egg, usually tucked inside a hollow tree or a rotting log. The chick, once hatched, receives careful attention, and one behavior sets this species apart from other New World vultures. The parents return with partially digested food stored in their crop and gently feed it to the young. It is a rare gesture, a clear sign of deep, long-term parental investment in a natural world where the most fragile lives demand the greatest patience. In the Cerrado ecosystem, the king vulture is not just a link in the food chain, it is part of nature's self-cleaning, self-healing system. By processing animal remains, this bird helps prevent the spread of disease, maintaining stability across the entire wildlife community. With a lifespan reaching up to 25 years in the wild and even over 30 years in captivity, the king vulture stands not only as a biological symbol, but also a cultural one. In Maya mythology, it was once seen as a messenger between humans and the gods, known by the name Oc, the spirit of the upper sky and the one who cleanses the stains of the earthly world. Not as graceful as the Seriema, the wood stork leaves a strong impression with its bare, wood-like neck that looks almost sculpted. Standing up to 115 centimeters tall, with a wingspan of 180 centimeters, its body is white, with a featherless head and neck, and a long, curved beak shaped like a sickle. This bird doesn't hunt by sight, but by touch. While standing in water, it holds its beak slightly open. At the slightest movement from a fish, shrimp, or tadpole, the beak snaps shut in just 25 milliseconds. If the water is too still, it gently stirs it with a foot or wing to flush out prey. In the 2025 rainy season, ground-based foraging increased by 14%, including frogs, lizards, and rodents. This adaptability allows the wood stork to survive in hydrologically dynamic regions, like Serra da Canastra, where it nests in colonies atop tall trees near wetlands. Each colony can hold 20 to 25 nests, with parents taking turns incubating the eggs and feeding the chicks for about 8 weeks. When not foraging, the wood stork glides gently through the air, rarely flapping its wings, like a black and white ribbon riding warm currents. It moves through a variety of habitats, from mangrove forests to freshwater marshes, helping to distribute nutrients and maintain ecological connections. Not loud or showy, the wood stork survives through quiet precision, stepping through muddy waters, tending its young under the sun, and soaring through storms like an ecological messenger. As Cerrado moves deeper into the rainy season, the stretch of land along the Araguaia River, which marks the natural border between the states of Goiás and Tocantins, suddenly comes alive in a strangely vibrant way. This area represents the seasonal wetlands and ephemeral pools that form after rains, lasting only a few weeks to a few months, yet carrying the power to spark entire chains of life. The appearance of ephemeral pools creates ideal breeding conditions for amphibians, free from the presence of predatory fish. Among the standout species is the giant otter, the largest otter on Earth. An adult male can reach up to 1.8 meters in length and weigh as much as 34 kilograms, with a sleek, torpedo-shaped body covered in short, dense chocolate brown fur that repels water and keeps the skin beneath completely dry. Its tail is flat, long, and powerful, acting like a paddle. Webbed feet between the toes allow for agile movement through murky waters. One often overlooked detail: each individual has a unique white patch on its neck, like a biological signature that helps researchers identify them in the wild. The rainy season triggers a boom in fish populations like catfish and characins, filling out the natural menu for the giant otter. With highly sensitive whiskers, it can detect the slightest movement in murky water. Its ears and nostrils can close while diving, allowing it to fully concentrate on tracking and catching prey. Unlike most other otter species, the giant otter is highly social. It lives in organized family groups, typically made up of a monogamous breeding pair and offspring from multiple years. A group can range from 2 to 20 individuals. They hunt together, play together, and share the responsibility of raising the young. While some individuals go out to hunt, others stay behind to guard the breeding area or train the young in diving and foraging skills. Their coordinated hunting efforts boost the group's overall success rate. Each adult needs to consume around 3 kilograms of fish per day, nearly 10% of its body weight. Fish isn't the only item on their menu. When fish becomes scarce, the giant otter also hunts crabs, snakes, and even small caimans, an impressive display of adaptability for such a skilled apex predator. With their dexterous front paws, they hold down prey and eat right on the water's surface, often floating on their backs, a scene that's both amusing and deeply rooted in survival instinct. They choose to build dens along elevated riverbanks or forest edge marshes. Each den may have multiple entrances, allowing the entire group to move quickly and safely if threatened. The Araguaia River region, especially within Canto State Park, is considered one of the last places on Earth capable of supporting a naturally reproducing population of giant otters. With over 800 interconnected oxbow lakes and a vast flooded forest ecosystem, this area stands as a final stronghold for this rare otter species. However, even this refuge is gradually coming under threat. Competition with humans, especially local fishermen, has begun to strain the relationship between the giant otter and nearby communities. According to the latest report released by the International Union for Conservation of Nature in 2024, the giant otter remains classified as endangered, with an estimated wild population of fewer than 5,000 individuals. And no clear trend of increase or decline has yet been established. Even so, recent research in the Araguaia region offers a glimmer of hope. The stable presence of large family groups and a rising number of pups suggest that, with proper protection, this species has a real chance at recovery. Larger and more formidable than the giant otter, the Yacare caiman is native to Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, and Paraguay. Its name, Yacare, comes from the word jacaré, which means crocodile in the ancient Tupi language and was later adopted into Portuguese. The body of the yacaré caiman is just bulky enough to appear heavy, but never clumsy. Adult males typically measure between 2 to 3 meters in length, while females are about half that size. They have dark brown to olive-colored skin, scattered with black markings, and a pale yellow belly reminiscent of soft mud along a lakeshore. The long, slender snout is the result of millions of years of evolution, perfectly shaped to maximize efficiency in catching fish, their primary food source. Their teeth are a biological marvel, between 70 and 82 in total, constantly replaced, with the fourth tooth in the lower jaw always jutting out, even when the mouth is closed. Because of this feature, they are sometimes nicknamed the piranha caiman. In the intricate system of ephemeral pools, the yacaré caiman emerges as a silent predator. It doesn't lunge or chase, but lies still, almost motionless, beneath floating vegetation, with just its eyes and nostrils breaking the surface. When unsuspecting prey ventures too close, the strike comes so fast there's no chance to escape. Adults typically feed on fish, snakes, birds, and even small mammals. Young caimans, on the other hand, start with smaller fare, insects, crustaceans, and freshwater snails. When hunting among floating vegetation, they use their powerful jaws to crush hard shells, a skill that leaves even the toughest snails with no way out. Beyond its predatory instincts, the yacaré caiman also reveals a softer side: reproduction. During the rainy season, as the soil turns moist and temperatures rise, females begin to build nests atop mounds of mud and decaying vegetation, warm and gently steaming like natural incubators. They lay between 22 and 35 eggs inside. The temperature inside the nest determines the sex of the hatchlings. Warmer conditions produce males, while cooler ones result in females. And even before they hatch, soft calls can be heard from within the eggs, like a gentle call to their mother. Once the eggs hatch, the young follow her to the nearest water, where they begin to learn how to swim, how to avoid predators, and eventually, how to hunt. As adults, yacaré caimans spend most of their time alone. Each individual is an independent hunter. But when necessary, especially during the breeding season, they are willing to gather and share ecological space, as if guided by an unspoken code among their own kind. The presence of the yacaré caiman is more than just a link in the food chain. They help regulate fish populations, especially piranhas, preventing sudden booms that could destabilize the delicate balance of seasonal wetlands. Their movement through the water and the soil creates temporary wallows that provide breeding grounds for other aquatic species. In their quiet presence, in each sudden dive and those sharp, glinting teeth, lies an ancient story of life itself. Amid the shimmering riverside light as golden sunbeams fall, the roseate spoonbill appears, its vivid pink plumage and unique spoon-shaped bill making it look like a drifting ribbon of color gliding through calm waters. Its pink hue comes from its diet, rich in the carotenoid pigment canthaxanthin, just like the flamingo. During breeding season, the color deepens, spreading to its legs and around its eyes, like a natural wedding gown worn by a wanderer in search of a mate. Standing 70 to 85 centimeters tall with a wingspan of up to 130 centimeters, the spoonbill has long legs, a slender neck, and a broad, flat bill shaped like a spoon. Not for tearing flesh, but as a precise sensory tool. As it sweeps its bill gently through the water, even the faintest touch from a fish, insect, or crustacean triggers an instant snap. Thanks to thousands of nerve endings concentrated at the tip. Along the banks of the Araguaia River, Shallow pools serve as ideal hunting grounds and nesting sites. They build nests in dense shrubs or low trees, laying 2 to 5 eggs per clutch, with an incubation period of around 32 days. The chicks are fed by both parents, who regurgitate food directly into their still-developing spoon-shaped bills. The spoonbill doesn't migrate far, it follows the water. Wherever rainy season wetlands appear, their footprints are not far behind. Riding thermal currents with neck and legs outstretched, they glide like living kites across the sky God created. Once hunted nearly to extinction in the 19th century for their feathers, used in hats and dresses, the roseate spoonbill has made a comeback thanks to strict conservation efforts. Today, they are considered an indicator species, a sign of wetland health. When spoonbills appear, it means the water is clean, crustaceans are plentiful, and the ecosystem is in balance. Larger than the roseate spoonbill and the biggest stork in South America, the jabiru stork enters the scene like an ancient guardian. It stands up to 1.5 meters tall, with a wingspan ranging from 2.7 to 3.6 meters, adorned with white plumage, a glossy black featherless head and neck, and a vivid red throat pouch. The feature that inspired the Tupi-Guarani name jabiru, meaning swollen neck. In males, the pouch can swell and change color during the breeding season, a vivid, wordless signal of readiness. Its slightly curved bill, measuring 35 centimeters long, is a remarkably precise hunting tool. Without needing to see its prey, the jabiru senses movement in murky water and snaps its beak shut like a falling trapdoor. In addition to fish, frogs, and snails, it also feeds on snakes, carrion, crustaceans, and even small mammals. In the Araguaia region, home to over 800 oxbow lakes, jabirus typically live in lifelong pairs. At the end of the rainy season, they build massive nests up to 30 meters high on dead trees, some spanning over 1 meter wide and reaching 1.8 meters deep, growing larger each year like a living legacy. The parents incubate 1 to 5 eggs and raise their young for over 100 days, far longer than most other stork species, with the chicks entirely dependent on their care. Belonging to the Ciconidae family, the jabiru is the only living species in the genus Jabiru, a remnant of an ancient lineage. In the Cerrado, it is an essential piece of the ecological puzzle, like the giant otter, Yacare caiman, or roseate spoonbill, embodying the deep connection between water, land, and life. Like the beat of a dry, distant drum, the Cerrado enters the dry season with a dramatic yet silent transformation. From May to September, rainfall drops below 50 millimeters per month, humidity falls under 30%, and daytime temperatures often rise above 35 degrees Celsius. Under these conditions, the ecosystem reveals its remarkable adaptations: plants with thick bark, deep roots, and the ability to regenerate after fire. Wildlife developing distinct survival strategies. Even so, protected areas like Chapada dos Veadeiros and Hyenas national parks continue to serve as vital refuges and recovery zones for many species during the dry season. Located in central Brazil, Hyenas National Park stretches across 1,320 square kilometers within the Cerrado ecosystem. This area is mostly covered by low grasslands with hardly any shrubs or trees. The soil here is thin, highly acidic, and low in nutrients. The extended dry season makes the region prone to wildfires, yet these fires play an important ecological role by triggering plant regeneration and helping maintain ecosystem balance. It is an ideal habitat for small grazers, burrowing animals, seed-eating birds, and predators, forming a rich biological structure even in such a harsh environment. In the scorching heat of the Cerrado, one of the most remarkable creatures of these arid plains, the greater rhea, begins its challenging journey of survival in Hyenas National Park. They are the largest native bird species in the Americas and rank among the largest birds in the world. Standing between 1.2 and 1.7 meters tall and weighing anywhere from 20 to 40 kilograms, the greater rhea can run at speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour, fast enough to evade most predators. Its long, sturdy legs work in tandem with wings that act like rudders, helping it maintain balance during sudden turns. It's a perfect blend of speed and strategy in an unforgiving environment like the Cerrado. Not only are greater rheas fast runners, but they're also skilled swimmers. They use their necks and wings to move through streams and shallow waters scattered across the savanna. In the intense dryness of the Campos Limpos, this swimming ability helps them reach the few remaining water sources. Their three-toed feet, unlike the four toes found in most other bird species, are an evolutionary trait well suited for quick movement across dry and uneven terrain. But what truly sets the greater rhea apart isn't just its physical ability. Unlike many other bird species, it's the male that takes on the nesting role. After building a nest on the ground, the male attracts up to 12 females to lay eggs in it, with a single nest holding as many as 50 eggs. Once the females leave, the male stays behind to incubate the eggs for 35 to 40 days, then continues to care for the chicks for up to half a year. He not only protects them from predators, but may even adopt and care for stray chicks that have lost their way. Outside the breeding season, greater rheas live in flocks ranging from 10 to 100 individuals, depending on environmental conditions. Their flexible diet is a clear advantage for survival. As omnivores, greater rheas feed on a wide variety of plant materials such as broadleaves, grasses, seeds, and fruits, as well as small animals like insects, lizards, frogs, and even young birds. They also swallow small stones to help break down fibrous plant matter in their stomachs, much like chickens or ostriches do. During the dry season, when green vegetation becomes scarce, they gradually shift toward protein-rich sources like insects or whatever wild fruits remain. In its journey of survival at Hyenas National Park, the greater rhea plays a vital role in the biological structure of the Cerrado, serving as a seed disperser, helping maintain species balance, and quietly moving between the dry and rainy seasons. In a place where the silence of fire can consume entire fields, the footsteps of the greater rhea echo like a drumbeat of resilience and the instinct to endure. The dry grasslands of Brazil hold more than just the footprints of the greater rhea. The pampas deer, a slender, small-bodied species, still quietly roams the cracked red earth of Hyenas National Park. Standing only about 70 centimeters tall and weighing between 20 and 30 kilograms, the pampas deer has a golden-brown coat that doesn't change with the seasons, allowing it to blend almost perfectly into the sun-scorched grasslands. Males carry small, three-pronged antlers that are shed around August or September, while females sometimes display a unique swirl of fur on their forehead, a rare biological trait among deer species. Despite their delicate appearance, they are true survival experts. When vegetation withers, pampas deer don't wait for luck. They stay on the move, carefully selecting tender grasses and flowering herbaceous plants. During the rainy season, grasses make up as much as 20% of their diet, but when the dry season hits, they shift to leaves, shoots, and even bark. Anything that still holds a trace of moisture, a wise choice in the face of harsh conditions. Instead of retreating into dense forests, this deer chooses to live in open savannas and tall grasslands. When threatened, it lies completely still, a silent prayer offered to the wild. If escape becomes necessary, it can sprint up to 50 kilometers per hour, though it often glances back, a curious reflex rooted in instinct, yet one that can also expose a moment of vulnerability to its predators. The social life of the pampas deer is fluid and ever-changing. During the dry season, they live alone or in pairs, but in the rainy months, they may gather in groups of up to 50 individuals, with males often moving between herds. At Hyenas National Park, an estimated 1,000 to 1,300 individuals have remained relatively stable over the past 2 decades. The pampas deer is a living testament to resilience, humility, and quiet grace, a message perhaps whispered by the Creator through each gentle step they take across the heart of the Cerrado. With its fierce appearance, the maned wolf might easily be mistaken for a fearsome predator. With a fiery red coat, pointed face, and long, stilt-like legs, the maned wolf is neither fox nor wolf. In fact, it isn't a true carnivore and tends to live a quiet, solitary life, keeping its distance from humans. It is the sole species in the genus Crocodiles, carrying a uniquely isolated evolutionary branch that has stood apart for millions of years within the broader Canidae family. Standing up to 90 centimeters tall at the shoulder, taller than the gray wolf, the maned wolf is perfectly built to move through the tall grasses of the Cerrado. Its large ears can rotate independently, allowing it to pinpoint the movements of small prey hidden in the thick vegetation, especially useful during twilight hours or at night. The maned wolf has a highly flexible diet. During the dry season, its meals shift heavily toward plant-based foods, especially the wolf apple, a fruit that makes up 40 to 90% of its intake, rich in water and fiber with natural properties that help fend off parasites. Its fruit-eating habits and long-distance roaming make it a key seed disperser, helping sustain the green heartbeat of the Cerrado. As an opportunistic predator, the maned wolf targets rodents, rabbits, ground-dwelling birds, reptiles, and insects. With its sharp hearing, it can tap the ground lightly to flush out hidden prey, then pounce forward, delivering a quick bite to the neck or back. But every hunt is a gamble of energy. Although classified as near threatened by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, several regions like Minas Gerais and São Paulo have reported significant population declines. In captivity, reproductive rates are low, with many females failing to reproduce even after pairing, posing challenges for recovery programs. However, at Hyenas National Park, where individuals are monitored via GPS, maned wolves living in near-pristine habitats are showing stable behaviors and positive interactions with the surrounding ecosystem. Grande Sertão Veredas National Park, spanning 230,853 hectares, is one of the most important biological core zones of the Cerrado. This survival oasis is also home to the ocelot, a wild cat with a striking spotted coat, once nicknamed the dwarf leopard. Their ancestors have roamed the Americas for 2 million years, and over thousands of generations, they've adapted to a wide range of environments. The ocelot has a body length of 70 to 100 centimeters, with a tail measuring 25 to 40 centimeters, and a coat marked by asymmetrical spots and stripes, like a biological fingerprint. White patches behind their ears create a false eye effect, making predators hesitate when approaching from behind. With their compact build, they slip effortlessly through dense shrubs and fallen trees, a silent shadow moving through the wild. As night falls, the ocelot begins to hunt. Though skilled climbers and capable swimmers, they prefer to ambush prey from the ground. With sharp hearing and keen vision, they go after rodents, hares, opossums, young armadillos, and even fish from shallow streams. Before eating, they meticulously remove fur or feathers from their prey, a rare habit among members of the cat family. Ocelots live solitary lives, except during the breeding season. Males control larger territories that overlap with those of multiple females, but they avoid direct confrontations with one another. After an 80-day pregnancy, the female gives birth to 1 or 2 kittens in a secluded spot, such as a tree hollow, dense grass patch, or rocky crevice near a stream. The kittens are born blind and remain close to their mother for nearly a year. When they're strong enough, the mother brings back live prey to help them practice hunting, preparing them for an independent life ahead. More than just a proud predator, the ocelot stands as a symbol of perfect adaptation. Each step it takes on the muddy ground of the veredas is a quiet whisper of life, resilient, silent, yet never fragile. Six times larger than the ocelot, the jaguar is the largest big cat in the Americas. It sits at the top of the food chain, a symbol of untamed power and a living testament to extraordinary adaptability in the face of harsh conditions. With a powerful build, male jaguars can weigh up to 96 kilograms and reach lengths of 1.7 meters, their compact muscular frame paired with a broad head and short but incredibly strong limbs. This anatomy gives them not only explosive strength, but also the most powerful bite of any big cat, pound for pound, surpassing even lions and tigers. Their jaws are strong enough to pierce the skull of a full-grown capybara or crush the shell of an Amazonian turtle. During the dry season, when food becomes scarce, this ability gives them a decisive edge, allowing access to a wider range of prey than other carnivores in the region. In the hazy glow of dusk along the Cerrado's water's edge, the jaguar presses low to the ground, silent as a shadow. Every muscle tightens in stillness. The hunt has begun. Unlike its relatives, such as the leopard or lion, which often go for the throat, the jaguar delivers a precise bite to the back of the skull or spine, piercing through thick bone. Its short, curved canines and immense jaw strength are the perfect tools for this ambush strategy, especially in places like dry season streams, where sound carries far. The prey has no idea that danger lies in wait beneath the low grass. As it lowers its head to drink, the jaguar strikes. A clean leap, claws gripping tight, a bite through the skull, an end in silence. If the prey escapes into the water, the jaguar follows. It's a strong swimmer, capable of diving deep, and has even been observed using its tail to stir the water and lure fish, showcasing rare flexibility and intelligence. Though primarily ground-dwelling, it can climb trees and launch attacks from above. an especially effective tactic during the dry season when visibility across the landscape is wide open. The jaguar's coat features large, bold rosettes with central black spots, forming patterns so unique that no two individuals are exactly alike. Some jaguars carry a melanistic pigment known as black panthers, which still retain these rosette patterns, visible under angled light or in infrared photography. This reflects the genetic diversity of the species in the Cerrado region, where an unusually high proportion of melanistic individuals, about 40 to 44%, was reported in the latest 2024 data from the organization On Safari. Biologically, jaguars are solitary animals. They rarely encounter one another outside of the mating season. A male's territory can be twice the size of a female's, and often overlaps with the territories of several females, though rarely with those of other males. During the dry months, this spatial arrangement helps minimize conflict and optimize access to dwindling resources. They tend to be most active at dawn and dusk, times of low light, cooler temperatures, and when prey begins to stir. In addition, jaguars have a unique range of vocalizations, from dry, saw-like roars to soft chuffing sounds, often used in close communication, especially between a mother and her cubs or mating pairs. Historically, jaguars ranged from the southwestern United States all the way down to Argentina. However, they have since disappeared from many areas, including El Salvador and Uruguay. Today, they remain in about 19 countries, with strong populations in the Amazon and Pantanal, but still persist at low densities in the Cerrado, a transitional zone rich in biodiversity. Specifically, at Grande Certo Veredas National Park, the unique habitat conditions have helped sustain a stable jaguar population, with 26 to 31 individuals recorded between 2023 and 2024. Protecting this species carries meaning far beyond zoological value. In indigenous cultures, from the Aztec to the Maya, the jaguar has always been a symbol of power, divinity, and immortality. In the Cerrado, the image of a jaguar crossing moonlit waters during the dry season has become a living emblem of balance, a reminder that even in the harshest of landscapes, there exists a deeper order shaped by the Creator's hand. One of the jaguar's prey, the greater capybara, commonly known as the capybara, is the largest rodent in the world. Interestingly, in the 16th century, the Catholic Church classified the capybara as a fish, allowing followers to eat its meat during Lent. Today, this gentle creature even has its own day of recognition, Capybara Day, celebrated on July 10th, honoring it as a peaceful symbol of the natural world. Measuring 1 to 1.3 meters in length and weighing between 35 and 66 kilograms, the capybara is more than twice the size of the beaver, the second largest rodent. Its coarse golden brown fur and sturdy build conceal a body perfectly adapted for a semi-aquatic lifestyle. Short, webbed legs and eyes, ears and nostrils positioned high on the head, allowing it to stay submerged while still seeing and breathing. Capybaras can dive for up to 5 minutes, either to evade predators or to cool off when temperatures soar above 35 degrees Celsius. Though closely tied to water, capybaras are surprisingly agile on land, reaching speeds of up to 35 kilometers per hour when escaping danger. Their diet mainly consists of aquatic grasses, plant stems, and reeds, but when food is scarce, they make use of grains, wild squash, and melons. An adult can consume up to 3.6 kilograms of vegetation each day. Their digestive system features an enlarged cecum filled with millions of microorganisms that ferment cellulose. Capybaras chew cud while resting and practice coprophagy, eating a soft type of feces after initial digestion to maximize nutrient absorption. During the dry season, small groups of 10 to 20 capybaras often merge into herds of hundreds, led by a dominant male. Their social hierarchy is maintained through scent glands located on the nose and near the anus, as well as a rich vocal repertoire including whistles, chirps, growls, and even barks. They frequently groom and remove parasites from one another, not just for cleanliness, but as a form of social bonding. Some individuals have even been observed standing on their hind legs and swaying, almost like dancing, after bathing or during positive social interactions. Capybaras are widely distributed across South America, from Colombia to Argentina, and are even found in Panama. In the veredas, they do more than simply survive. They actively support the ecosystem, selectively grazing to promote aquatic plant growth and serving as a key link in the food chain for jaguars, caimans, and snakes. Another large mammal enters the scene, this time the largest land animal in South America, the South American tapir. Also known as the Brazilian tapir in the Tupi language, it's called the Amazonian tapir, maned tapir, or lowland tapir in English, anta in Portuguese, and la sachavaca, literally bush cow, in a blend of Quechua and Spanish. Measuring between 1.8 and 2.5 meters in length and weighing from 150 to 320 kilograms, the tapir is equipped with a flexible trunk-like snout, formed from its upper lip and nose, that allows it to pluck fruit, forage for leaves in dense underbrush, or even act as a snorkel while submerged. In the sweltering dry season heat, often above 35 degrees Celsius, its ability to dive for minutes and move along riverbeds helps it evade predators and regulate body temperature. Despite its bulky frame, the tapir can move with surprising speed when threatened. This nocturnal animal follows stream banks in search of leaves, tender shoots, and even aquatic plants. Precious food sources when vegetation withers. Known as the gardeners of the rainforest, they help regenerate plant life by dispersing seeds through their droppings, especially throughout the veredas. Though their eyesight is poor, Brazilian tapirs have a highly developed sense of smell and hearing. They communicate and mark territory using scent trails from their bodies, urine, and facial glands. Their vocalizations include whistles, snorts, forceful breaths, and a distinctive clicking sound, a kind of secret language whispered through the forest. Tapirs live solitary lives, coming together only during the breeding season. Females carry a single calf after a pregnancy lasting up to 13 months. The newborn is covered in dark fur with white stripes and spots, like a tiny watermelon, providing natural camouflage under the forest canopy. They stay with their mother for 12 to 18 months, learning to swim, dive, and survive. But this also means the population regenerates slowly and is especially vulnerable to rapid environmental change. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the Brazilian tapir is currently listed as vulnerable, at risk due to deforestation, agricultural expansion, hunting, and habitat fragmentation. In the Cerrado, the conversion of forested land into soybean plantations and grazing pastures over the past 20 years has led to a sharp decline in veredas habitats. However, at Grande Sertão Veredas National Park, this species still has a chance at survival. The park's network of underground springs, wetlands, and year-round green buriti vegetation provides a cool, moist refuge throughout the dry season, an ideal environment for their continued existence. In contrast to the tapir's somewhat smooth appearance, the Brazilian three-banded armadillo, also known as tatu bola, is one of only 2 armadillo species in the world that can curl itself into a completely closed ball thanks to its natural suit of armor. This species unexpectedly stepped into the global spotlight when it became the official mascot of the FIFA World Cup 2014 under the name Fuleco, a blend of the words futebol, meaning soccer, and ecologia, meaning ecology. Measuring only 23 to 27 centimeters in length and weighing between 1 to 1.6 kilograms, about the size of a small watermelon, the tatu bola's biological design is a masterpiece of evolution. 3 flexible bands between 2 tough armor plates allow it to roll itself up, using its short tail to seal off its soft underbelly, transforming into a seamless armored ball. No teeth or claws can easily pierce through it. The tatu bola feeds on ants and termites, using its long, sticky tongue and strong claws to break into termite mounds and ant nests. Though its eyesight is poor, its sense of smell is incredibly sharp, helping it sniff out prey and stay clear of hunters like the jaguar and the puma. It is active in the early morning and late afternoon and rests at night in shallow burrows or abandoned dens. Unlike other armadillo relatives, it does not dig deep on its own. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature in 2024, there are currently only between 1,000 and 1,800 mature individuals remaining in the wild. Once widespread across Bahia, Piauí, and Tocantins, they are now found in stable numbers in just a few places, including Grande Sertão Veredas National Park and the private natural heritage reserve, Mata do Junco. Major threats include deforestation, hunting, and domestic dogs. With an extremely low reproductive rate, only 1 offspring per year, the Brazilian three-banded armadillo cannot rebuild its population fast enough to keep up with its decline. But for that very reason, it serves as a sensitive biological indicator, reflecting the overall health of the ecosystem. In the Veredas region, where the soil is loose, shade is plentiful, and termite mounds abound, this area becomes a final refuge for the species during the dry season. Unlike armadillos that live burrowed underground, the South American coati often climbs trees like a bold little explorer of Grande Sertão Veredas National Park. Also known as the ring-tailed coati or brown-nosed coati, it is a close relative of the raccoon. Measuring about 85 to 113 centimeters in length, with the tail making up nearly half of that, and weighing between 2 to 7.2 kilograms, the coati stands out with its long, curved and flexible snout. Once called coatim, meaning curled nose, in the ancient Tupi-Guarani language. Its curved claws help it dig, pry at roots, flip over stones, and climb with ease. A unique ability to rotate its ankles allows it to descend head first, a rare trait among mammals. The coati is active during the day, foraging when the weather is cooler. With its ultra-sensitive nose, it sweeps the ground like a living detector, searching for scorpions, insects, bird eggs, fallen fruit, and even animal remains. Individuals living near the Veredas streams often climb low trees to pick fruit. Female coatis live in bands of 10 to 30 individuals, usually made up of mothers and their young. Adult males live alone, joining the group only during the mating season before going off on their own again. Within the band, female coatis show a strong spirit of cooperation. They care for the young, keep watch, and share information through sounds and body language. They use clicking noises, soft woofs, and gentle hissing sounds to stay in touch and alert one another to nearby trouble. The breeding season begins at the end of the rainy season, when fruit is most abundant. After a pregnancy of about 77 days, the female coati builds a nest in a tree and gives birth to between 2 and 7 young. The babies stay in the nest for about 5 weeks before rejoining the band. Females usually remain with their mother's group, while males leave around their 3rd year and begin a solitary life from then on. As a highly adaptable omnivore, the coati helps control insect populations, spreads seeds, and plays a vital role in maintaining the lower layers of the ecosystem. A role that becomes especially important during the dry season, when food chains are more fragile. Although not yet classified as globally at risk, coatis are declining in southern Brazil due to deforestation and conflicts with humans. If faced with a threat, which strategy would you choose? Curling up like the armadillo or climbing a tree like the coati? We have just journeyed through the most authentic glimpses of survival strategies forged over millions of years within the savanna and cerrado. Which inhabitant in today's episode caused you to see the big picture of the wild in a new way? Was it the high-stakes acceleration of the cheetah, or the absolute authority of the black-maned rulers in Ngorongoro? Please share your experiences in the comments section. Your understanding is the finest tribute to these wild beings. Don't forget to like and subscribe to join me on future field missions, where we will continue to unlock the most mysterious codes of existence. And if you want to explore more about other wild inhabitants, continue your journey with Tanzania lions. Ultimate battles for survival, or nomadic survival, savanna's most intense conflict.